still in a global pandemic. Yeah, this has been a long process for us. We've had to deal with a lot of different things, and the pandemic is something that I'm not sure any one of us expected. But as I'm fond of saying, as the Zen saying goes, it's about finding the good and the bad. And so I think that with the pandemic, we may be entering some difficult days. Uh, Luckily, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We've got a vaccine that's on the way. But for the next few months, we're all kind of holed up in our homes, worried about making sure that we're all safe and healthy. So, with the next couple months being what I think will be a difficult time, but with the spring coming and going to be a new awakening for us, a better time, I'm looking at this moment as a real moment of testing, of trying to see how Zen we can be. For those of you who know me, I talk about Zen all the time. And one of the good parts about where we're at with New Voice Live is that, as I said, despite our technical difficulties, we're able to remotely run this show. And for me, I get a now chance to start speaking. And so you're going to hear me, as longtime members know, talk about everything from a perspective of Zen. And Zen is that whole idea that we can comfortable with the fear that we have to face in everything we do, whether that's something that is as tangible and scary as things we're afraid of, like a snake or heights or death, to the psychological fears of speaking in front of an audience. And the statistics which you all know I often quote is the number one fear is speaking in front of a live audience. And we fear it so much more that we will say that we'd rather die. Death is the number two fear. And so the Zen journey for me has been to try to understand why it is that we have this terrifying psychological fear. And what it comes down to is we fear the things that we don't confront, the things that we'd rather not deal with because they're too fearful. And I think we're in that moment now. I think we have a pandemic, as I said, that's going to be very difficult for us. And we're going to be having to come back in our homes and gird our teeth and hunker down for another few months. And it's in this time that I want to ask you all to make a commitment, to come back here every Friday to help get us better, all of us, but more importantly, to buy into this as something that works, that you will then go share the word with. We're in a place now where we've done a lot of hard work to get to something that's consistent, reliable, and as I said, being remotely controlled. Now it's time for us to go tell the world about it. So I feel like this is a transitional moment. We're going to be in a place for the next few months where we're stuck at home, looking for things and ways to connect. And I can't think of a more powerful way than something like this with New Voice Live. So I said it before, I'm going to be a broken record. I'm another broken record once again saying, let's go out there on social media and to your friends, to your family, to strangers, and go spread the word. And so that's also one other reminder. Devika is going to go around to other clubs, other Toastmasters. I can't make tomorrow, but I think she's going to go on Tuesday. So if anybody wants to join tomorrow, obviously feel free, but on Tuesday, I think I'm going to join Devika as well. And I think it'd be really cool if we had a whole bunch of people from our club going to go crash another Toastmasters club. So if anybody is interested in that, feel free to join us. We are all, as I said, in outreach mode. So help us outreach, find an audience. It's the only way we're going to get better at it. All right, with that said, I want to thank you all for coming, and let's get ourselves into the show. We have tonight's first speaker is going to be Jorge. And Jorge is giving his icebreaker, but he's already given an icebreaker. So I think this is a practice icebreaker. Is that right? Let's get Jorge on the screen if you could. Hello, Jorge. How are you?
Hello, Henry. Good, thank you.
So you've given an in-person icebreaker before, right?
I have, yes.
Okay, so this is an old hat, and you've been a member for quite a while, so you know what to do. But I just also want to remind folks if somebody wants to give another icebreaker, they're more than welcome to. We've got our curriculum in place, but you're free to do whatever you want in terms of speeches. And the power of repetition, that's why we're here every Friday, is that every time we do it, we get a little bit better. So for you doing another icebreaker, I know it's something that you've done before and done very well. So I'm looking forward to another one here tonight. And I think we've got your title as reminders. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. Well, you've got 4 minutes on the clock. Your icebreaker is called reminders. With that, I'll let you take it away.
Good evening, club members and guests. My name is Jorge, and yes, technically, this isn't my first icebreaker. I've done it before in person, but still, I am going to freestyle my speech tonight. I am also going to use this opportunity to remind myself the things that I have been doing and the things that I want to continue to do. In other words, I want to reinforce the things that I'm working on to change my mindset, if you will, into a more positive one, and also remind myself that when things get tough, just keep going, have faith. So, how? Well, if I wanted to share a little bit about me, I would say that my story is nothing special, but I have been a very I'm going to say negative person, okay? Blaming everything and everyone for the things in my life that I didn't like. However, a couple of months, not a couple of months, maybe a couple of years, I decided to take on responsibility for my actions and everything else I don't have control on, just let it go. So, how am I doing this? How am I taking responsibility? By training my mind, training my body, and also looking for a way out. What do I mean with way out? I mean, do something that I really want to do, venture out or join someone else in ventures. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm still looking. And to move into the final section of my speech is also to hopefully inspire, encourage someone, or maybe remind someone about things that they also perhaps are working on, things that are as goals in the future that you can still hopefully take something with you from my time talking to you. So one of the first things is that practice smiling more, speak up, ask for help, be compassionate with our fellow human beings, with animals, with our planet, especially now and during these pandemic times. Also, when things get tough, just keep going. Have faith. At least that's what I'm doing. If you really want something, work on it and leave everything else to the universe, to the source, to karma, and or God. Thank you very much for your attention. Back to you, Henry.
really appreciate your being honest and candid about your thought process. I have a couple questions for you. Was that something that you practiced and rehearsed, or was that something more kind of impromptu for you?
I did put on an hour or so practicing.
Okay. It felt very genuine to me and authentic. And I think what I really liked most about it was the pacing of it. So for me, um, although you may have practiced a bit, it felt very genuine and authentic. So I just wanted to say that I thought it was a great speech and appreciated the honesty there. With that said, though, we've got our audience out there who also can give you some feedback. So, Rob, would you mind putting the link in the chat for an audience to give Jorge your feedback? And Jorge, you'll get a self-evaluation link for you. And we're going to listen to your favorite song, Jorge. I think it's a bit of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, if I'm correct. And we'll put 2 minutes on the clock for some feedback from everybody. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It's now time for our formal evaluation for the evening. We're going to have, I think it's Rob as our evaluator for tonight.
I'm doing a speech, sure. Hey,
Rob, do we have you on? I can hear the kids in the background.
yeah. I have a special guest with me.
This is going to be, I was going to say, a mutual evaluation for the evening.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you've done this before, so Jorge's in good hands. We have 2 minutes for you on the clock for your evaluation. With that said, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Henry. And Jorge, wow, that was great. I'm gonna echo Henry and just say how much I really felt the authenticity in what you said. And I would never take you for being negative. I just see you as such a positive presence, especially in this community here at New Voice Live. So it's surprising to me to see that, but I can imagine like that we're all a little negative in certain ways, and I think it does take a lot of faith, as you had said, to really be positive, especially in these crazy times with COVID and all that's going on. You really have to put on this filter and just hope to find the silver linings in everything. And I really liked your speech for a lot of different reasons. And I've never seen you give an icebreaker, and it kind of showed a different side. I think the table topics sometimes are a little bit more specific to whatever the topic is, but this felt really genuine and from you. So it was nice to see that. And I feel a little bit more connected to you through your speech. So thank you very much. And I just liked your points that you brought about smiling, about speaking up and asking for help and compassion. I know I need to be reminded of those things every now and then, especially in these difficult times. So I was really timely to hear that. And I think with this superstition topic that we've been talking about for table topics, there's a synergy between what you talked about there and this karma and this sense of manifesting your own destiny. So I'm really inspired, and thank you for your speech.
Thank you.
Great job on that. Great job on the evaluation, Rob, as always. And so with tonight's, we've got Jorge as our only speaker. So we're going to turn to table topics here shortly in a minute. And I think we've got plenty of openings. So if anybody has not signed up, feel free to sign up. Tiana's our table topic master for the evening. With that said, Rob, if you wouldn't mind just giving that link in the chat one more time, and then we'll get ourselves reset for table topics. We have some difficulties again. Bear with us. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Again, we're doing this stuff on the fly remotely as well. So it's going to take us a little while to get the hang of it. And tonight we've got table topics, as I said, with Tiana. And it looks like we have a good list for tonight. So let's get Tiana on the screen for us. Hello, Tiana. How are you?
Hi. Happy Friday.
Friday. Happy Friday for sure. And this is the first time for you being our table topics master for the evening.
It is indeed. And I'm completely ready.
I think, though, even though you're being table topic master for us for the first time, you're actually a longtime member of the New Voice Club, right?
Yes, I actually went to the new school and graduated in 2015. And while I was there, I was a part of the New Voice in person.
Well, it's glad to have you back. And that's also a way for me to also say thank you to all the new school students, alumni, and the new school itself. Yes, for those of you who don't know, we are part of the new school. We would be there now in person if it weren't for the pandemic. But without the new school, we wouldn't be here. And I look forward to getting back in person because the facilities of the new school are fabulous. And there's no replacing being in front of a live audience as well. So we can simulate it. We can try everything we want to try to make sure that we feel the anxiety of being on camera and on YouTube and all that stuff, but there's no replacing being in person in front of a stage. So look forward to that. With that said, let me turn this over to you, Tiana, and tell us why you chose table topics and the question and all that stuff. So take it away.
All right. So, table topics for this evening is tell us a love story about a person, place, or thing. And I've known since I was young that I love hearing about people's love life and stuff like that. Maybe I'm just a little nosy. So it doesn't have to be about a person though. It could be about a place you've been. If you love Paris, tell us about your trip to Paris. If you love hot dogs, tell us about your love for hot dogs. So basically, anything you love, tell us a short story about it. So you'll have 1 to 2 minutes for table topics. And that's about it. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you will get some music to let you know that your time has run out. And so, coming to the stage first, I do not want to mess up your name. So, I will let you introduce yourself so I don't mess it up.
Thank you, Tiana. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Uh, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak today. It's been a minute since I've had the pleasure to see you guys, so it's good to see you, the Henry and Kaylee, and all the familiar faces and the new faces as well. Apologies for my absence. It's been an interesting summer and fall, but yes, I hope to rejoin the weekly meetings and tell you all about my adventures for the last couple of months that I haven't been attending in upcoming meetings. But I'm happy today to talk to you about my love story with motorcycling, if you'll allow.
One quick thing first. Can you tell us your name?
It's Piotr Marciszewski,
Nope. Okay.
or you can just say Peter.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. Uh, my love story is about motorcycling. So when most people look at motorcycling, I think it's a polarizing feeling. They are either drawn to it, they think it's really cool and really maybe dangerous and sexy and all sorts of different things. Um, uh, but when I was sort of introduced to it, it was through a friend, and I immediately knew that this was something that I wanted to pursue. I did not consider the risks. I did not listen to my parents or friends or family members who tried to dissuade me from getting my motorcycle license. Not even when my good friend who was riding for a couple of years shared a video of about 15 minutes of crashes on YouTube and said, look, if you want to continue to ride motorcycles after you've seen this video, I'll support you, but only if you sit and watch this entire thing and tell me that you still want to do it. And indeed, it was a very scary and sobering experience, but afterward, I still knew it was something that I had to try. I'm happy to report I did it the right way. I went to a motorcycle safeties class. It was about a 5-day instruction period with many hours of riding and in classroom learning. I talked to many other friends and seasoned riders about the risks and benefits of riding. But through it all, the love for this sport pursued and honestly culminated in the moment I got my first motorcycle. The feeling that I had when I first threw the leg over the seat and just took off was indescribable. It really does feel like you're flying. You look straight ahead, you think about what you're going to do, your hand controls do it. You don't see the bike under you at all, you just see the road. So I encourage you all, if you've ever been curious about what it's like to fly, get your motorcycle license and you'll be impressed by how much fun it can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. That was fantastic. I love but I also love to see women riding motorcycles. Whenever a woman tells me that they have a motorcycle, I'm just like, that is so badass, and I just love it.
I
So
also think that's really cool, by the way. So
so thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, next up, coming to the stage is Rob.
Hey,
Rob, so
how
uh,
are you?
I am pretty good. Pretty good. How are you feeling? Are you feeling excited about your love story?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna get that gushy. I'm gonna pick thing out of the three choices. So
That's fine. That's fine. I still appreciate a good love story, regardless if it's a person, place, or a thing. So, all right. So, whenever you're ready.
all right, thank you. And great question too. I have a funny thing that I love, and it was my piece of karma or my superstition is I love to pick up lucky pennies. And a lot of my friends are like, that is so disgusting and weird. Why are you doing that? Like, you live in New York City, like COVID. And I have to say, like, recently it's been really hard to like refuse picking up lucky pennies when I see them. But I'm always carrying my hand sanitizer, so I really douse them before I put them in my pocket. But it's become sort of an addiction, and I whenever there's a day that goes by where I haven't seen a lucky penny on the ground, I have this moment of like, oh gosh, is some bad thing gonna happen? And then all of a sudden I'll find one or two or five, and it's not just pennies, but I find all kinds of money. Like, I found $35 on the subway like a couple months ago. I find quarters and nickels and dimes. So I don't know, maybe I'm a walking rabbit's foot, but I'm a bit of a coin magnet. And I don't just pick up the heads up pennies. I feel like if it's heads up or heads down, it's heads up somewhere on this planet. So they're all lucky to me.
Thank you for sharing that, Rob. I love finding money in my pocket.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
probably
really
safer in your pocket than on the street.
finding money in my pocket or finding money on the street. But usually I don't pick up the pennies. But if there are bills, I'll definitely pick.
They all add up to bills.
Yeah. Do you find that your lucky penny brings you other kinds of luck besides money luck?
I think so. I usually associate it with wealth, though. I just feel like the more you welcome money into your life, the more it flows in. So
Yeah.
that's my little like reminder that I find throughout the day.
Yeah, I definitely believe in the law of attraction. So, if you believe that your life is full of abundance, there'll be more abundance.
Definitely.
I
Thanks
definitely,
so much for the fun question.
yeah, you're welcome. So next up, we have our illustrious Henry.
Hello, Tiana. How are you?
Hello there.
I'm,
How are you
you know what?
feeling today?
I'm feeling so excited that I get to do these things now. I'm so used to
I'm
having to.
excited to hear from you too.
I feel like the Wizard of Oz, where I've had to pull all these buttons and levers to try to keep things going, and all of a sudden the screen's been pulled away. Like, yeah, it's all a joke.
Well,
So I'm very excited to be here.
hearing your table topic tonight.
Thanks for that, Tiana. And yeah, so I'm gonna go with a thing as well. I'm with Rob. I won't be so gushy, although it's definitely something that um, I'm in love with. But the question is this really a thing or not? Because the thing is called nirvana. In Zen, the goal, if there's such a thing as a goal in something called Zen, is to reach nirvana. And it's not the band Nirvana, not Kurt Cobain, but the actual Nirvana that Nirvana was named after, the band. And the idea of Nirvana is essentially it's like paradise on earth. The idea that you could forever be happy and satisfied and content. And that's the goal that Zen says as long as it's a goal, you'll never achieve it. And so, how do you want something that you know you can only get by not wanting it? And I think that's ultimately the real question of nirvana and what the word love means. Because I think what I've discovered in my pursuit of nirvana is what love really means is an unconditional acceptance. Whether nirvana exists or not, whether it's a thing or not, it's something that I've come to accept no matter what form it comes in. And I think that's what the lesson of nirvana is this idea that love at the end of the day has to be unconditional. And the moment we put conditions on love is the minute we've lost our nirvana. And so for me, the thing that I'm in love with, I think, is this idea that we have to be unconditionally accepting of all things. And if we can do that, we have found true love and found nirvana. Thank you. Did I do okay?
Wow, Henry, unconditional acceptance. Woo, that's a tall order.
It's the tallest order of all. Exactly. So, is that possible? Is that a thing? That's kind of the whole question of nirvana.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Tiana, in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, I'm with you. I'm not sure that I'm all that accepting of all the hard stuff that's going on out there.
It's
Har-
really hard. Like, even just thinking about accepting yourself,
That's
accepting other people, all of that is super difficult.
it is the hardest thing of all, I think. And look, that's why I come back every week. Is this is something that I looking yourself in the mirror, watching ourselves on video. It is the hardest thing of all.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
haven't been doing that at all. I've actually been reading. Most of the time I don't look at the YouTube at all.
Well, I think you make a mistake. I think you look fabulous. And just as another plug for us all on YouTube, look, you're seeing this stuff kind of blurry and, staticky. If you go to YouTube, our priority is the stream. So you're going to get clarity. You're going to not hear the glitches. You guys look fabulous. So hop on that YouTube channel. Check yourself out. You look great.
Well, thank you for your speech, Henry, and your advice and the Zen wisdom. I don't know. I mean, I've tried to meditate so I could get some Zen, but I'm just not there yet.
We're all on a journey,
Yes,
myself included.
yes, we are.
Thanks for that.
I realized that I did not remind you guys about the word of the day. And the word of the day is venerate. And it means respect or revere. And so if you say the word of the day, you'll get little Simpsons pop up, and we'll all be very impressed as well. So coming to the stage is Asantie. I hope I'm saying your name correctly.
Yep,
Hello
Asantie.
there.
Hi,
How are you feeling today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, you ready to tell us your love story?
I am, and I hope it's okay. I took a left turn into lovey-doveyville because I am gonna talk about a person
I love
And even though
it.
this person doesn't know I exist, I love them. I'd like to talk about my love for Justin Bieber. I'm 23 years old, but since one time, Justin has been the love of my life. And I actually met him once. Well, I didn't actually meet him. I was at the airport. He visited Barbados in 2010. And on August 20th, 2010 at 3:30 p.m., I saw him at the airport. I didn't think that I was going to see him because I didn't know where he was staying. It was very secretive and under wraps. But that same day that he was traveling, I was traveling. And I went to get a newspaper with my dad and my sister. And we see this fanfare coming through customs. And I look around and I don't know what's going on. But all of a sudden, I just see him and my jaw hits the floor. I start shaking and I tap my sister. I'm like, Anthony, is that? And she's like, yes. And the security guard is like, yep, that's him. And I start freaking out and people start swarming him. So I get out my camera, but I'm so nervous and I'm shaking. I hit the off button on my camera instead of the take the picture button. And so he was late for his flight, and his bodyguard was kind of shoving us off and was like, okay, he doesn't have any more time. And I still run behind him though as he walks away. And his bodyguard turns around and he's like, stop. It's okay. And I had to stop right there in my tracks and just watch him walk away. He went to the private hangar for his jet or private plane or whatever. And I just got a little snap of him walking away up the stairs. But Justin, if you see this, actually he's married, so scrap that. But it was really nice to see you that one time, and I hope to see you perform live someday. Thank you.
I love that you know the exact date and time of when you saw him.
It's like the most memorable moment I have, so it's ingrained in my heart.
And so I really appreciate that. And you obviously love him very much. And I'm sure that your message will get to him eventually.
Hopefully.
Okay. Have you seen him anywhere else ever?
No, I haven't seen him again since.
Okay. Well, thank you again. Coming to the stage is my very good little brother, Trey.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hi, little brother.
What's up?
And everyone should know that Trey's going to be my little brother forever and ever and ever. Amen. Because he's forever going to be younger than me.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Are you ready to tell us your love story?
I mean, after Asantie's story, I don't know. Oh, definitely my pick of the week so far. Okay, I think I got one. All right. So I'm trying to rack my brain over what to tell this story about, because I feel that I am surrounded by love. I have loving family. I have a beautiful cat that I definitely give love to each and every day. But I think my focus today is going to be on my friends, in particularly one friend called Brian. So I used to go to sleepaway camp all the time, and I have stories for days on all the mischief that I used to get into. In sleepaway camp, they had it set up where the boys section was somewhere, the girls section was on the other side. And as a camper, I used to get some friends, or we used to sneak over to the girls' side and see whoever it was that we were dating at the time. Brian was one of these friends. Eventually, we grew up to work at this camp. And for old time's sake, we decided that we were going to sneak over to the girls' side and see some of the counselors that we were seeing at the time. Turns out that we got caught, and my only rule was that if you get caught, you came by yourself. In this situation, I got caught, but it was to get the girl for Brian to come out. So I got caught, I got fired, they let me go. However, I knew that this was one of my best friends ever when I ended up calling camp to say, hey, Brian, just in case things go really bad, do you think that you could also let them know that you were there with me? And he said, yep, I got you. He turned himself in the very next day. And I knew that this was a guy that I wanted to keep around for forever because I knew that there was just loyalty in his heart. So to this day, he's still one of the best friends that I have. So thank you.
There's nothing like loyalty.
Mhm.
Did Brian also get fired or no?
Oh, he sure did. So he said that you know what, Trey was actually trying to get this girl for me, so it was actually me who should be fired. And they said, okay, you're fired. He said, can I come? Can Trey come back? And he said, no, you're both fired. So that was it.
Okay. Well, at least you guys had each other's backs, and that's definitely commendable.
Exactly.
It's great when you have friends for like the entirety of your life.
It's true. We've been friends since we were 12 years old.
Very nice. Very nice. And I'm assuming that you have lots of other love stories that you could tell us,
Absolutely.
but maybe not today.
Hey, sorry for another time.
Okay. All right. So coming to the stage next, we have Devika.
Hi, how are you today?
Hi, Devika. How are you?
Hi, Tiana. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Are you ready to tell us your love story?
I am.
Are you going to tell us about a person, place, or a thing?
I don't know how which category it fits into, but I'm going to talk about uh, a couple of books. So love stories in the books that I read long back and stuck with me till now.
Okay.
So I think it's love story of a thing maybe.
Books that you love. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. It looks like we're having some technical difficulty, maybe. Devika, take it away.
Thank you, Tiana. So I'm going to talk about a couple of books actually, two of them love stories, and which stuck in my mind since the time I read it. I read Gone with the Wind and Pride and Prejudice when I was in class seventh, which I think I must be around 14 or 15 years old. Oh, I think I was around 13 or 14 years old. And yes, that was, I think, one of the first. So my father, never let me read any of the other, nonsensical books like M&Bs and things like that. So this was the first love story he got me, Pride and Prejudice, and I remember reading it, you know, a lot, like repetitively, because I really liked it so much. It was different from what I used to read. And after that, my father got me Gone with the Wind, and I read that like 100 times over, and I really fell in love with the characters, Mr. Butler, so much so that my friends used to call me Mrs. Butler because I used to rant, unabashedly about the main character, the hero of the book, Red Butler, Captain Red Butler. And in Pride and Prejudice, I used to talk non-stop about Mr. Darcy. And after a few years, I remember I picked up the book again. I was, I guess, in college. So I was around 20, in my early 20s. And read the book, both the books actually, again, for some reason. And I, looked at the love stories in different perspective. So, they're definitely love stories, but I feel that especially Pride and Prejudice is, the novel focuses on a love story, but I feel it has something for all ages, love stories for all ages. It's definitely romantic and everything, but I guess the main message is that both of them, both the characters, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy, fall in love. They, by overcoming their pride and prejudices and biases, and they end up together. So I guess, I feel that that's how love should be, and that's how love matures, and that's how it stays forever.
Thank you so much, Devika. I've never actually read Pride and Prejudice, but there's a movie called You've Got Mail, which I absolutely love and rewatched it over the weekend. And in that movie, they talk a lot about the book Pride and Prejudice, but I've never read it myself.
Oh, is that so? I've not seen the movie. And I don't know if it's surprising or not, but I have not read any other love story, and I don't like seeing a lot of love movies, have romantic movies. So my husband is always wanting to see that, but, we're always fighting about what to see, but not love stories.
Well, thank you very much. It makes me want to read it since you seem to love it so much. But also, I think it's like a really thick book, right? Is it?
Yeah, Gone with the Wind is almost 1,000 pages, and
Okay.
Pride and Prejudice not so much. I think it's around 500, but or maybe less than that. But yes, Gone with the Wind is a thick one. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Most of the books that I read are like professional development, personal development kind of books. So 1,000 page love story, I don't know if I could do it.
So
But
actually, the reason, one of the things that I really like is watching war movies and reading about history, and especially everything related to war. And I know I should not be romanticizing about wars and stuff, but it has an American Civil War backdrop. So that was one of the reasons it got interesting for me.
nice. Well, thank you for sharing your love of Gone with the Wind and Pride and Prejudice with us. And hopefully, you have sparked the imagination of others to actually read those books too.
Yep, hopefully. Thank you, Tiana.
Okay. So, coming to the stage next is Rajiv, and hopefully I pronounced your name correctly.
You did. You did. And you
Great.
said it perfect. So thank you for that.
Great, thank you. So, are you going to talk about a person, a place, or a thing?
I'm going to do something that I've never done before, which is to talk about my feelings and talk about a person. So this will be a this will be a new voice live first for me and just first for me, period.
I love for men to be talking about their feelings. Okay. So, whenever, let's see. Yep, now, whenever you're ready,
Awesome. The story that I'd like to share with you today is about love. I have many loves, and the specific love that I'll be speaking to about today is of a person. And how did this happen? You might be asking. Well, it all started with the pandemic. The pandemic had a silver lining for me personally. It it provoked or made everyone transition from in-person meetings to Zoom meetings, and uh, that spread to pretty much all meetings, whether it was business meetings, social meetings, or any other kind of meetings, including Toastmasters. Now, we all know Toastmasters is amazing, which is why we assemble here every Friday to improve ourselves, and Toastmaster rocks. Similarly, so my story starts with one of my business partners who attended a Toastmasters meeting. And she said, Rajiv, there's this Toastmasters meeting that I go to. You should come. It's awesome. I said, sure. When do they meet? She said, Saturday, 8 a.m. I'm like, what? 8 a.m. on a Saturday? And she knows that I'm not a morning person at all. She said, no, 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 no. Please, please come. You'll enjoy it. I said, okay, fine. For you, I'll do it because I've known her a very long time. So I go there, and it's there that I meet the love of my life. Now, I didn't know that this would happen, but it just turns out that she's, in fact, the president of that club. And this is in Washington, D.C. And we kept in touch. I invite her to my club, the other club that I'm a member of, Columbia University Toastmasters. So she comes there, checks out the club, sees me in action, listens to my podcast as well. That goes well. We keep staying in touch. And the next day, so this is a Saturday, so Sunday evening, I ask her out, and she says yes immediately. We still keep in touch. And 3 days later, she flies up from Washington, D.C. to New York City, where I live. And we've been together ever since. And this was 3 months ago. So it's going great. And if it hadn't been for the pandemic, I would not have found the love of my life. And, we're soulmates. It was an electric note that true love is
I love that so much. I love that so much. Did you go to the Columbia one specifically looking to meet new people?
Uh, no, so the meeting that I met her at was in Washington D.C.
Okay.
So she's a member of that club that's in DC. She lives in Washington, DC.
Okay.
And the only reason that I was able to visit that club is because of the pandemic and everyone went virtual. And that was the only reason why it was possible. Had it not been for the pandemic, there's no way that I would have ever had any reason to go to Washington, DC. It's kind of boring compared to New York City. So why would you want to leave New York City? It's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So the pandemic forced everyone to go virtual, and that resulted in me visiting several Toastmaster clubs all over the world, including all over the US. And that was one of them. And it just turned out that now I will say that I wasn't looking for love. I was just out there being my friendly, happy, cheerful self, and it just happened. So it's one of those things where I think it's kind of like the law of attraction thing, where if you like look for something, you may not find it, but if
Right.
you're just open to it, it'll
Yep.
find you. So it's one of those things.
I absolutely believe that, and being open and making room for it in your life.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm a manifestation coach. I actually manifested her, and
Yeah.
it turns out that she manifested me as well. So it was just kind of like a good like intersection, and she was exactly what I manifested right down to the very last detail, and as was I for her. So it was just an amazing, like story and circumstance. It was just beautiful.
I absolutely love that. I am 100% believer in manifesting. I manifested my current job, and everything that I wanted is what I got. And I'm so happy about it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Kudos, Tiana.
Thank
That's
you very
awesome.
much. Thank you. All right. Thank you for sharing. So, coming to the stage now is Roberto. Roberto, I can only see your hand.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Must be my big head.
Hello there and welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, be at home with you. Here and there at the same time. Imagine that. Okay.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
are you going to tell us a love story about a person, place, or a thing?
Well, something that I love to do, that would be a thing. Would that be
Okay.
something that sort of an action thing?
All right.
All right.
Sounds like a
Okay.
plan.
All right. Let me see if I can get my. So am I going to see the timing on my screen? Just make
Yep.
sure I don't get
Do you see it?
it. Not yet.
It is on um the pin to speaker view, the live stream. Do you see that?
Okay, looks like I see it now. Okay, great.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. So, I'm sure you all heard the saying, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. What about if you love cycling? You never have to cycle a day in your life. So really what I'd really love to do is that this cycling, being outdoors in the fresh air, especially during this pandemic where we feel so enclosed and we don't get to see and experience the great outdoors. So what I enjoy the most is when I'm out there and just enjoying the fresh air, this wonderful rays of sunshine, and exploring new destinations and new routes. As a matter of fact, one of my newer routes now that I start off with, I do about 50 or 60 miles or so. And then I just start from my home. Then I take a ferry. Then I go to another municipality borough. From there, I go to another borough, take another ferry. And then I see, while I'm on the ferry, it's exhilarating. I see the bright blue skies and I'm there enjoying it, the ray of sunshine and the fresh air. And I just keep going. And then I go around and tour the other towns. And while I'm seeing all this, I'm saying, wow, what a feeling that I get, especially when I'm outdoors with that fresh air. And after all that, of course, I'm sweating, and sometimes it's windy, and sometimes the conditions are not ideal, and sometimes I get angry. Say, oh my God, the wind, the wind, the wind, and then it feels like you're not going anywhere. But ultimately, when I get home, I feel this enjoyment. This oh wow, what a great ride I had. So the fact that when you love something, even though it might be painful to do, like work, it's painful. It's love. So for me, love is more permanent. It's not one thing. It's not just going on a vacation. This is a permanent thing, an enjoyable thing, a loving thing that I continuously do. So my love is continuous because my cycling is continuous, hopefully for a very long time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your story. I love to hear when people are really passionate about something, especially when it's something that I don't like to do. Like I don't like to ride a bike, I don't like to run, but whenever I hear people talking about it, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. I wish I wanted to do that, but I just don't." But I love to hear other people being passionate about stuff.
Yeah, it's what and this is what love. When people say, "What does love mean?" What is it? Painful? Yes, it's just like work. But when you love something, it's no longer work. It's no longer cycling. It's enjoyment. And I suppose it's hard for someone who is in your shoes, who's sort of perhaps not athletic. They're saying, "How are these crazy doing a marathon and cycling? That's insane. That's not enjoyable." But it's
Cycling
interesting.
makes my butt hurt, so I don't enjoy it, but I love to hear that other people are passionate about
Yeah,
things.
yeah. So it's, yeah, of course. There's certain, we have got to, obviously you need the right clothing. You need, obviously even creams as well that help as well. So overall, I mean, you have to be well prepared, especially for long distances, definitely. But obviously, I have my good days and bad days, especially, like I said, poor weather conditions. But ultimately, it's really truly enjoyment and serenity that I get out of it, especially when I explore new areas that I haven't seen before. So really, it's quite amazing. It's like taking a mini vacation every time I go out.
That sounds amazing.
All right, thank you.
All right, so coming to the stage next is Alex.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you, Alex?
Excellent, excellent. I love your table topics. It's really great, really great. Get a
Thank
lot of
you.
very
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
stories.
I'm glad to see you. You always have really good energy.
Well, thank you so much. So my love story is actually about a person, place, and a thing.
Okay, fantastic. So whenever you're ready, go for it.
I'm going to lay it on you then. Well, thank you so much. So first of all, I'd like to share a quote. And Jesus was a sailor when he walked upon the water, and he spent a long time watching from his lonely wooden tower. And when he knew for certain only drowning men could see him, he said, all men will be sailors then until the sea shall free them. Venerable friends, Toastmasters, everyone, I venerate the city of Montreal. And when I venerated Montreal in my youth, it was the city of Expo 67 and the city of poetry. In Montreal lived the poet Leonard Cohen and his love Suzanne, from which poem these lines were taken. And it's only later when I moved here to the city of Montreal that I realized that these lines, yes, they were poetry, but they were reality. Suzanne was a real person. These were real places. This was real imagery. And Leonard Cohen was giving us a story of love. And so I love Leonard Cohen. I had an opportunity to meet him. I loved Montreal. I had an opportunity to move here. I loved the poems, and I had an opportunity to read them. And as I grow older in my life here in Montreal and elsewhere in the world, listening to your stories, the story of Rajiv and Rob and everyone else, all of these beautiful stories of love, I venerate them. I venerate your stories, and I thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. And you used the word of the day like 8 times. So congratulations. Congratulations. And thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. All right. So, last but definitely not least, we have Sean coming to the stage. Hi, Sean.
Hey, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I think your prompt has been very successful so far.
Okay, thank you. So, are you going to tell us a love story about a person, place, or thing?
Well, I also have a pandemic love story also, but I'm
Oh, I
gonna
love
save that. But I'm going to save that for some other
Oh, what a tease.
time. And I'm gonna speak about something else.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Just gonna tease us. That's okay. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Sean Tripal speaking. So I am going to talk about a person who I came to love over time. And that was a form of self love. It wasn't until I really came to accept the fact that I'm a person who has a speech impediment. That was when I was able to finally begin to love myself. And and if I had to think back, I would say that probably happened 5 or 6 years ago. And after that came to being, I found that both my platon- platonic and romantic relationships improved at the same time. And just to give the audience a bit of background, so as a person who stutters, I felt that I was very flawed for a very, very long time. And because of those feelings, I always felt as if, I always felt as if I could never do enough to get a platonic or romantic relationship. And as I shared last Friday, I've been I've been friends with someone for the past 15 years. Which is something that I'm quite proud of. And I promise that I'll share my pandemic love story sometime soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate it whenever you speak. I always feel so touched and moved by your story and the choices that you're making, and you like really just putting yourself out there to feel more comfortable and to develop your speaking. I just feel so moved every time you speak, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that is the end, I guess, of our table topics for the evening.
Tiana, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Great job on table topics. And let me also say, for everybody that spoke, um, I said at the beginning of the episode, I say it almost every episode, this fear of public speaking, the fear that we have to undergo of being judged. Um, that's why it's so difficult. And we specifically, I think at New Voice Live, everyone that's here and the leadership team, we make that a priority where we're saying this is about being vulnerable. This is about authenticity and truth. And that's how you get past the fear. And so as I was listening tonight, there were so many good table topics. And first, I want to thank everybody for getting up there and speaking. Second, it's great to see folks who haven't been here for a long time. And, like I said, that's why I'm here. It was a great table topics. I was thoroughly enthralled and laughing the whole time along. So great job on that, Tiana. Great job on all the speakers. Really appreciate it. And so with that said, it's time for our vote for favorite table topics. So in the link, Rob, would you put the chat link for our best table topic speaker, and as well give Tiana some feedback on her role as table topic master as well. And with that said, we'll then get into our end show grammarian timer roles, and let's get those folks on the screen. So our first role is our timer for the evening. That's going to be Jeneil. So let's see if we can get Jeneil on the screen for us as our timer. Take it away, Jeneil. Never small time.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I was so touched by this meeting tonight. Thank you so much for your vulnerability. I just sat back, it washed over me. It was really what I needed to hear. So, Jorge, that was a real attitude adjustment. I loved your speech. You came in at 4 minutes, 5 seconds. Rob's evaluation, you were at 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Peter, for table topics, love of motorcycles, you were at 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Rob's table topics was 1 minute, 35 seconds. Henry, welcome back. You are at 2:05 for table topics. Asantie, I was dying. It was so adorable. I love your speech so much. And I think somehow Justin Bieber will come back into your life one way or another. You were at 2 minutes exactly. Trey, you were at 2:25, and your story had me cracking up. Devika, you were at 2:40. I'm going to have to check out those books. Rajiv, 2:45. Congratulations. Great pandemic love story. Roberto, you were at 2 minutes 40 seconds. And I also want to get outdoors as much as I can during these times. That's huge. Alex, amazing speech, amazing ode to the city of Montreal. You were at 2 minutes exactly. And Sean, I just can't tell you how much I love and appreciate your speech. You were at 2 minutes exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeneil. Great job on the times. And let's now get Annie on the screen for us to give us our grammarian count.
Having trouble hearing.
Is this better?
That's better.
Sorry about that. Jorge, I counted one, you know. Rob, you did great. I didn't count any filler words. Piotr, just one. Rob, in your table topic speech, I counted 3 likes. Henry, just one or Asantie, also just one or Trey, you were perfect, no filler words. Devika, I counted 5 or and 3 you knows. Rajiv, 2 or Roberto, I didn't count any filler words. Alex, you were also perfect, no filler words, and you used the word of the day multiple times, I think both as an adjective and a verb, so very exciting. And Sean, I counted 2 or 2 you knows, and 1 like.
Thanks for that, Annie. Great job. And yeah, shout out to Alex for that word of the day. I got to tell you, it's one of those things that every time I forget to say it, I'm like, darn it, I forgot to say the word of the day. So all those little things that we come back for, those little improvements that we make along the way that get to a place where we have a show that I think is really compelling. In fact, I think we've now got to a place where the content, the speakers, all the things that we hear have gotten past our graphics. And so we got to get our graphics caught up to where we're at as content and speakers. But we're going to get there. And eventually, like I said, we're going to have something that we're all proud of to go tell the world about. So for those of you who are continuing to make this thing a weekly endeavor, I thank you for that. We're going to be what I feel like is going to end up in a more difficult period. So I'm going to ask you all once again to come back, make it a commitment to come back. Everyone's getting better. I know I'm getting better. And so although we may not see the progress and it may feel like pandemic fatigue, it may feel like Zoom fatigue, all those things, I'm here to tell you that we're making progress. And even though it doesn't feel like it, even though it feels like a slog and it's difficult, we are definitely making progress towards that light. And that light's coming. So with that said, thanks again for another episode. One quick note, we're going to be here for another couple episodes, and then we're taking a 2-week break for the Christmas and New Year holiday. And then we're going to come back in January in the new year with New Voice Live 2.0. It's something we've been looking forward to for a long, long time. As I said, we started this thing in the beginning of the pandemic. We weren't sure if it's going to work. I'm watching the show going, this is working. We've got some great speeches. It looks fantastic on YouTube. So with the new year, we fully anticipate launching as our own thing. We will always have Toastmasters. We will always have the in-person meetings, but New Voice Live is its own little entity that we're going to be, as I said, launching in the new year. So stick with us through the upcoming holidays, the next few months. We'll be back in January for a brand new edition. And in the meantime, go spread the word. All right. For those of you who stick around for after hours, anybody got any questions about what's happening? Anyone wants to join the leadership team? We're here for after hours. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in another 7 days. Thanks for coming.